Within the Coppergate shopping centre, not so very far from the Jorvik Viking Museum, is the rather appropriately named Body Shop. It hasn't always been the Body Shop, of course, but then the current buildings haven't always been a shopping centre. It's all quite new, really, built during the 1980s. Over 1,000 years ago, this spot was occupied by some Viking industrial units, craft workshops and the like. This is where artisans would make a whole variety of items, from bowls and combs to finer products like decorative jewellery. A range of colourful beads have been unearthed there during the world-famous archaeological dig that took place in the 70s and 80s, made from wood, glass and precious stones such as amber and jet. In addition, more macabre finds have been made. Skeletons. Indeed, some of the faces that can be seen on the figures inside the Jorvik Viking Centre itself have been reconstructed from locally found skulls, in the same way that a forensic investigator might do for a murder victim. Thus, some of these figures have the actual face of a real person from those ancient days. The basement of the Jorvik Centre, after hours, can be very spooky at times, as I know from personal experience. When the building is closed, it is not always as quiet as it should be. Staff there have reported unusual sounds, unexplained currents of cold air, and often a feeling of unease. Of course, over the 1,000 years since the Viking times, this site has been built over on many occasions. In the 19th and 20th centuries, this was the location of Mrs. Craven's sweet factory, demolished in the 1980s to make way for the shopping centre, and of course the archaeological dig site. Craven's is where they used to make those nice boiled sweets, as they used to call them, hard candies like coloured glass, usually fruity, made out of boiled sugar. You know the kind of thing. In addition, they would manufacture their very popular toffees and lots of other products, including their much sought-after French almonds. Mrs. Craven herself was quite a character, a tiny woman who nonetheless managed to rule her business with a rod of iron. She even had a special high chair made so that she could keep a detailed watch right across the factory floor, mistress of all she surveyed. However, it is not she who is thought to haunt the current premises, but perhaps one of her hard-working employees. Now, the Body Shop staff and some of the residents above say that on occasion there are strange sounds coming from the top floor, noises which should not be there at all. It's the sound of someone very loudly walking about on bare floorboards. Nothing unusual there, you might think, except when you realise that there are no bare floorboards on that top floor at all. It is all thickly carpeted. And, what is more, this phenomenon often happens when there's nobody up there anyway. In addition, the staff have reported odd noises emanating from the back room of the shop. It's the sound of something akin to that which would occur if a necklace were to break, sending large beads dropping on the floor, bouncing and scattering around. Some have inferred that the sound could be that of Viking beads falling about. But why should such an echo from the past occur after all these years? After all, the breakage of a necklace is merely an irritation and hardly a life-threatening or dramatic occasion. Yet it is written in the sagas that one of the queens of Jorvik, Viking Age York, was a sorceress. Her name was Gunhildr. She was said to be extremely beautiful, powerful, and temperamental. Being the wife of King Eric Bloodaxe, it would be a grave mistake to get on the wrong side of her. Gunhildr had a liking for fine things, including jewellery and furs. Indeed, she is said to have often wore a pair of catskin gloves. Could it be that the beads in question actually belonged to this sorceress, and that their loss might have been accompanied by a curse of some description, either in general or directed towards some unfortunate servant or trader? A curse which has cascaded down across the centuries and fallen at our feet. On the other hand, a rather more gruesome explanation has been suggested, that it might be caused by the ghost of a man who used to work in Mrs. Craven's sweet factory itself, and one day had a horrible death when he fell into a vat of boiling sugar. Inevitably, there are unkind people who quip that the man must have had a very sticky end indeed. Joking apart, though, just imagine what it must have been like for him. Did he perish straight away, or did the sugar have a chance to solidify first? Perhaps the noises that are sometimes heard are not, after all, of beads, but of hard, sugary fragments breaking off and hitting the floor. No one knows. So far there have only been the unexplained sounds. The poor man, if indeed it is he, has not been seen at all. At least, not yet.